Keep moving on. Keep moving on. And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
And hello, what's up, everybody? We're back here with now the quarterfinals we have to get through here of the GRLCS season 17, I believe. I am Let's Go Dragon alongside of my co-caster here, Vid, and special guest for the draft phase we have XVII.
Hello! I'm here, guys. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's gonna
Gonna
be
be a banger of a series.
Hell yeah.
definitely exciting. I can't wait to see how everyone really plans on getting this, on how tonight's really going to be ending up here. Do you have any insights for, I guess, IDS? Since you were previously their mid laner, you guys have since then parted ways. just for a little last bit of it. But do you have any insights you want to give us for this draft phase?
I think they're gonna look for like some kind of support engage, and then they're gonna look for a tanky top lane. I don't know. I feel like Zalp is gonna pop off this game, so watch out for that kid. Yeah, mid lane is just gonna be AFK, guys. So I would recommend not to watch mid lane, but good luck with that.
Well,
Yeah, and before the stream, we were talking about that, and it already seems like it's shaping up pretty quickly. Corki picked up by Zooted. Looks like they're just ready to handshake this lane because ID Solaris will be picking Victor here for Watercat. And XGM, as you said, like beforehand, it's like this guy's going to get his 8 CS per minute. He's going to wait until late game, and then he's going to put the team on his back and try and carry. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the other side lanes will be doing in this game because it seems like mid lane is going to be a bit of a wash.
I mean, with ID Solaris right now, they first picked the Jinx, which is hyper carry that you mentioned. Zalp's going to pick. Karma, interesting, could be bot lane if they're looking for a non-engaged sort of support, looking to try to maybe do a different game plan, or maybe go crazy, take that top lane and see how that matches up here, especially against Zooted Gaming's picking up the Ornn in part. Yeah, this last pick for picking.
Yeah, this might actually be a snooze fest for the first 20 minutes of the game because we've got a Corki, we've got an Ornn, we've got Jinx Victor, and I have to assume that that's going to be a Karma bot lane because we haven't really seen the Karma top come back in a while. So this may not have that much action. Of course, that's without looking at either jungle pick. We do have to see if either is going to pick up something like a Jarvan or a Volibear, something really impactful in the early game.
It's going to be quite curious to see how that actually shapes up for the rest of this draft phase at least. And I mean, to be fair, to the credit for Zooted Gaming picking up the Corgi, he really gets online whenever he gets one item once it finishes completing, because as Corki does in this current meta, picks up that Muramana, just has insane amount of AD, and just works with his kit super well. So it's going to be a little curious to see how that pops up around probably not 20 minutes, but more so around like the 15 to 14-minute mark is whenever they typically come online. If you're stacking at a pretty adequate speed, I suppose.
The best pick on ZG actually is the Ornn pick because Gemtop is one of the best Ornn top laners in Gerect. It's actually his like top main one trick. They took the Ornn from him. It's actually a super good pick into him. They banned his Garen and his Mundo, so he's actually doesn't have any good chance that he can play. This is a very smart move from DG actually. Looking forward for this top lane. Who is he gonna pick?
Well,
And I actually really love it with the Volibear as well, just having that double, the combo of Volibear being able to dive turrets like that. And Ornn has so much damage, especially if you're not playing one of these like Juggernauty type top laners. And interestingly, we do see an Echo locked in for the mid lane. No, the jungle.
Wow. I don't like the Echo pick here.
It's a weird one.
It's definitely
Yeah,
a very
it's a
squishy
random
team.
one.
It's a pretty squishy team with the Echo pick. But we'll see with whatever our last one's going to be. I'm hoping it's not actually going to be York, but it might just end up being. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the York for the top lane. I don't know how I feel about this. This is not a lot of CC for IDS.
I'm more into ZG draft so far. I don't know if ID can win the 4v4 and let Yorick split. Yeah, I'm more into this ZG draft this game.
Yeah, I do think ZG has a stronger draft, and the Xayah Rakan, that one locks it in for me. I think ZG has a very strong draft here. The Yorick just seems like a desperation pick to me. It just kind of gives up the lane for a lot of it because Ornn is just like he's a really good weak side laner, and Yorick is not going to be applying too much pressure before he picks up that second item. And the Echo is just, I don't know, man. The Echo is not giving me good vibes.
Yeah, I mean, ID is a team where like we wanna look for dragons and early lead. With the comp that they built, I don't think anything like good is gonna happen in early game. It's all gonna be late game, and I just don't like the Yorick and Echo pick.
Yeah, the second round pick phase for IDS was definitely a lot of question marks. I was expecting a little bit more. I was expecting a little bit more, maybe like engagey, maybe a little tankier. Yorick just screams a lot of split pushing, where he's just gonna like sit in a side lane forever. Echo has some engage, but he's also a pretty squishy target. Maybe he can knock down either Corki or Zaya before a team fight really pops off there. And then maybe Jinx and Victor can kind of just free roam with a little bit of help from Karma and hitting that mantra E, giving that all the extra movement speed. But again, it's a weird comp compared to the more traditional front to back comp that we have with Zooted Gaming side of things. I mean, you have 2 damage dealers, mid lane and bot lane. Then you have tanks. Or Khan is a little bit more of a less so of a tank, but more so he got that engage that we were really looking for. Orin to follow up with that engage, and Volibear to really chase down, and still combo on top of some of that engage as well. So it's a little questionable from IDS. It's definitely not. It's definitely the harder comp, I want to say, to pull off. It doesn't have clear strengths, but there's definitely ways you can spin it into your favor for IDS. So maybe they're going to be playing towards that. We'll just have to see if they can really break down the tried and true front to back comp that CG seems to be pulling out.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is that this is certainly not a doomed draft for IDS. It's just a really difficult draft because you kind of waive all of your agency through the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. I mean, even like if Zooted starts Drake stacking, it's going to be way harder for ID Solaris to come back. Yorick is kind of the thing keeping them in the mid game. And then obviously late game, they've got a lot of damage. They've got these 2 super strong carries, and Echo, if he builds, I mean, he can either build tankier or burstier. And as you said, if he can get onto one of those carries, it's going to be a lot easier for ID Solaris to play this through the late game. However, getting to the late game, they just have to basically hope that Zooted doesn't punish them for it. And that's like a pretty big hope, considering how well Zooted's kind of mindset is going into this game, just drafting to beat ID Solaris, taking away that Ornn, as you said, XGM, taking the Zyra Khan, getting that Volibear to shore up the more scaling lanes. I think it's going to be a very difficult battle uphill for ID Solaris here.
Yeah, so as you said, like the early game is not gonna be good for ID Solaris. Their comp is basically plus 25 minutes in the game. And also they don't really have an actual engaged champion. So it's gonna be really bad if they wanna look for a fight around Dragon, around Herald early game. They gotta find a pick before they go for a team fight. Otherwise, I don't think they can really do anything against the Ornn Volibear account engage.
I think, and we're really nailing down on the head that they don't have a really strong way to engage, which is weird because if we've seen like IDS's previous games, you've seen them always try to start up a Baron or Dragon, just not for the sake of, oh, I think we can secure Baron or Dragon right now. It's more so, hey, let's force the other team into a position where they have to respond to us. We're going to make the first move. Now they're going to decide, do we just let them have a Baron or do we try to go into them? Which kind of mitigates needing an engaged champ, but at the same time, you're putting yourself at that disadvantage without taking the first step. So it's gonna be really weird. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's a game of chicken, it feels like, where ID Solaris, as you said, if they're going to start playing around these later objectives and kind of like, hey, we're going to tease this Baron, we're going to tease the second Herald, we're going to tease third Drake, and make sure that you have to respond to us, kind of like throwing Zooted off their balance. Like, you can just drop the Ornn ult on them. You can just go for the full engage, but there's a very slippery comp here behind the scenes for ID Solaris. You've got a lot of move speed coming out of that Karma, the empowered mantra E, as you said. Echo as well is no slouch in the speed department. So if they can kind of bait ZG into engaging a fight that is not on their terms, maybe they can try and turn something around and take these team fights. But again, it's just playing chicken. And the train's coming at you really fast here.
It's like a super. I think the bet. I don't know. Some people in chat say, or at least What's Too Pretty saying, there's a favor for IDS, which I don't know. Again, I think it's really
I,
like a super strange comp to play that can work out, but I think your window for winning is also weird with Ornn on the other.
So he's talking about the Jinx Victor late game. Yeah, I mean I agree. They have a very good late game and that no one can outscale them. But like who is gonna defend the Jinx and Volibear when the Ornn, Volibear are kinda engaged on them? Who's gonna get them like to survive the team fight early game and mid game? Like if they don't get to late game and being ahead, it's just not gonna happen. You're not gonna see them online. So yeah, I'm wondering what the idea is gonna do early game.
It's gonna be pretty interesting. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, especially with you're against for bot lane wise, you're gonna be against Zaya Rakan, which I mean, pretty strong in itself. Both of those champions work pretty well individually with other sort of supports ADCs, but together they just work with each other a little bit better. The early game potential that they both have now that they're playing, on the same team, the extra damage you get from Zaya's W when you have a Rakan on your team just makes it hurt so much more. So I'm really going to be curious. Maybe that's why we picked this Karma in the bot lane as that sort of defensive. We're playing safe, but I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about this draft phase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people talking about the Jinx Victor late game, but still they don't have any kind of field champions. They're not gonna be that hard to kill.
Yeah, Jinx Victor late game is one thing, but it's the early game and the mid game that really worries me. But we are getting into the game here, so make sure to fill out those predictions. Make sure to bet those channel points. If you are one of the IDS faithful and you truly believe in them, it seems like you're already voting, actually. So ZG fans, get some easy points right now for the rest of the series and make sure to put your predictions in. Vote for ZG, vote for IDS. As we're getting in here, and it's, not even seeing the Skinergy on the side of IDS. They have Arcane Jinx, but they don't have Firelight Echo. But we're here in the game for game 1 of IDS versus Zooted.
Yeah. So thanks, XDM, for dropping by in order to give us a little bit insights for this draft phase. But now we are jumping right into the game here. Do you want to introduce this blue side for us, Vid?
Of course. We've got ID Solaris coming in here on the blue side. There's Gem Top in the top lane on Yorick, OG Roach in the jungle on Echo, Watercat in the mid lane on Victor, and Zalp and Second Wind on Jinx and Karma in the bot lane.
Wow, over on the red side here, we have Zooted Gaming. In the top lane, we got Therospri. I always see we casted a couple of their games before. I never really thought about what their name spells, so I'm just going to say double M in the top lane playing the Ornn. In the jungle, sorry, we have OP Killswitch playing the Volibear. Mid lane we got Ashton on the Corki, and then obviously we're talking a little about it. We have Hyperlingo and Atomi in the bot lane playing Zaya Rakan.
And we've got already a couple of blows traded, 20 gold for Second Wind as he drops a mantra Q onto Ashton. Ashton does have to chug one of his pots. He did start Cull, so he understands that this is already going to be a farm lane.
Really just looking to... It's a little interesting that he didn't opt in to try to start immediately, or she didn't start... I don't know. They didn't start immediately with a tier. You can start with tier, and I've seen that a couple times with Porkies. You're planning on buying that Muramana first item anyways. You lose a little combat stats, but you get the scale a little bit faster. So it makes me wonder a little bit about the Cole instead of just starting with the tier. Are you really expecting it's like, okay, I know it's going to be a farm lane, but I do want to have a little bit of extra stats in order to survive the farm lane. So I'm just going to go with Cole. We're going to make a little bit of money. We're going to hit that mid-game spike, and then we're just going to start printing.
Yeah, I certainly think it's a viable strategy, especially if you know that this is going to be a farm style lane with Watercat on the other side. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, the level 2s are going to be picked up for Zalp and Second Wind first, which is pretty much their saving grace. If Hyperlingo and XHomie had pushed further for this one, then it would be a pretty bad news bears for IDS. That Zyvercon level 2 is nasty.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, their level 1s can be really threatening as well. But the level 2 is really where you're looking for. You don't grab E, I believe, because you grab W level 1. But in this case, it looks like instead Hyperlingo did opt in to go with Q than the E. I guess they weren't expecting to try to do anything level 1 or level 2, so they were just going with the more safer options. Not needing to overcommit necessarily, especially going into a Karma. You know how the extra mobility and a little bit of shielding is going to be able to prevent them from getting caught out so easily by Rakan's entrance.
And every time Rakan goes in, I clench just a little bit. I'm like, oh, is he going to get him? But yeah, it's just going to be posturing for now in the bot lane. I think Hyperlingo and XHomie know that they do have this lane as long as everything else stays even. And actually not everything else is staying even. Already almost a 10 CS lead here for the bot lane of Zooted Gaming. Zalp actually only got 2 minions, but now Echo's coming in. Hyperlingo immediately going to respect flash away. XHomie's in the middle of things. He has to flash. There's the heal burned as well. No blood, but 3 summoners burned for 3.
You are
4 summoners,
a
actually.
little bit behind because we saw that whole engagement happening right now. I'm at 410.
I am at 403. Okay, I'm just going to speed up.
Yeah, so just to fill in, yeah, all that stuff happened in bot lanes. 3 summer spells burned for 3, so it's an even trade. Hyperlingo did go a little closer down. Did have to burn all 3 of his pots in order to get back to healthy. And then OP Kill Switch did meet up with OG Roach in that tri-bush there, but no real altercation coming out from them. Both getting it back, and if we want to look at what they decided to pick up, OP Kill Switch really prioritizing those boots, going to be finishing those, and has the Predator. He's really looking for maybe some early game ganks, while OG Roach is looking for the blasting one, where it's not necessarily going to help him out in ganks, other than he's able to get a little bit more damage off whenever he does go in. It helps his clear speed, and it's also going to be making sure that they can really secure a kill.
And I think that's kind of the issue, isn't it? Like, we were talking about early game proactive junglers like a Volibear, like a J4, and you go ahead and pick Echo when you already don't have that much pressure or that much tempo in your other lanes. It's a question of, like, what are you actually doing with this pick against something as impactful in the early game as a Volibear? Because he does have Predator. Like, this is a Predator tier 2 boots bear. He's going to be really hard to get away from. And we see that XHomie is already, he's able to go ahead and roam this early, and Hyperlingo still ahead in CS. So we're seeing a lot of map movement here by Zooted Gaming, and we're not seeing anything really in return, except for the CS lead in the mid lane for Watercat.
And nice posturing coming out from Second Wind there. He is trying to make sure that Zalp is able to get back that little bit of a CS lead. Top lane's going to have a little bit of a wet noodle fight.
Just a little bit of a wet noodle fight. Both top laners do have Grasp, so they both stayed for the extra auto for Grasp, which essentially evens it out to nothing. But there is, again, a CS lead in the top lane for Double M here. It is going to make him, or it's going to put him at a little bit further ahead, but now OG Roach hanging out in the bottom lane, but he doesn't know that OP Kill Switch is over the wall here and coming in. They actually may go for it into the waiting arms of the Echo. Here comes Echo jumping onto XHomie. XHomie blown up immediately. First blood for the Jinx with the reset. OP Kill Switch coming through, and now the solo kill by Watercat on Ashton in the mid lane that we didn't even see. 2 kills immediately here for IDS, and Double M looking in trouble as Gemtop has the Maiden of the Mists. She will not get the kill, but there we go. 2 quick kills for IDS.
Yeah. Impressive things to note from those fights. One, Watercat was still basically on no mana, but he still found enough damage in order to kill Ashton. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, because I don't think he's taking like biscuits or anything to get himself extra mana. So So I think Wildcat was just saving up for those extra mana bits and managed to get Ashton. Ashton unfortunately falling down there. Still managing quite well for money-wise, thanks to First Strike plus to Cole a little bit, in order to help maybe mitigate some of that deficit. But again, that is going to be quite unfortunate how Ashton fall down right there. And then a good counter gank from OG Roach in the bot lane there to help out Zalp and Second Wind. They sniffed out OP Kill Switch was in the area, forced out his flash because he knew that inside of Jinx was not what he wanted to be nearby. So he was already bailing it, and that's going to just end up being a 2-0 lead for IDS here, resulting in about 600 gold difference, which is exactly those 2 kills.
Yeah, pretty much those 2 kills. But keep in mind, because Jinx is pretty far behind in CS, she is only going to be, I want to say, like 150 gold ahead of Hyperlingo. And of course, that's not actually going to be enough for anything other than a couple of potions. So they are on very similar item breakpoints right now. I mean, you can see that first legendary component. You've got the longsword versus dagger, and then boots versus tier. Just a little bit of utility there. So we're not seeing a major lead anywhere except that mid lane where Watercat does have both the CS lead and the kill lead over Ashton.
Yeah, it is going to be probably the bigger thing to note. Ashton still just got the tier a little while ago, already has 100 stats on it, looking to get that fully upgraded into the Murmana, and then Corki's going to start making some business all around over, and just really being a menace, being able to do a lot of damage. But still, we're going to have to see if that will actually pan out that way. For now, the bot lane is looking to see if they can get yet another sneaky sort of gank going on.
But Zalp is so low, I don't know if they'd want to do that. It's just something to be aware of. And they may do this thing again. OP Kill Switch is hanging out in the river brush, and they may just start that unassuming 3v3. Now it looks like he will just go for the dragon instead. OP Kill Switch. Oh!
Ooh.
The back was not quite interrupted, but that may be still okay for ZG. They will end up getting this dragon uncontested as OG Roach is backed off, but Gemtop just soloed Rift Herald, so this is a Yorick that is quickly getting online. Kill Switch will just smite it away.
Roach pop an ulti, make sure he's like, alright, I'm not in danger, but I don't want to be in danger anytime soon. I do not know where OP Kill Switch is at the moment. Ashton might still be MMIA on the map. I wasn't sure if the minions were at the tower just yet, but just be safe, we're just gonna ult out. I'll be back up in a minute, and then we can make some more magic happen. But Gemtop taking the Rift Tail top already, that's going to be a pretty impactful move for him. Making sure that he can maybe get a little bit more efficient backs off, he bats sooner, and he has the sort of, the big thing to note, the elephant in the room. He has to Rift Tail it entirely, so if Double M decides to try to use a TP play somewhere else, or maybe just straight up maybe walk somewhere, he's going to get heavily punished by Gemtop, by the Maiden just doing tons of tower damage, and on top of that, the Herald able to take down half the tower's HP. That's going to be a lot of gold in their pocket, and if Double M ever leaves lane for any reason, it's going to be a heavy punish for it.
Yeah, very heavy punish, but I think the problem will be Gemtop needs to get Double M away from this top lane. Ornn has great amounts of sustain for a guy that doesn't actually have sustain built into his kit. So he'll have a good time just trying to farm under tower. I mean, he's basically sacked this lane while the Herald is available and while he's behind on items. But now, watch out. We are seeing pings as Echo is here. He is going to drop that parallel convergence. He's going to try and jump onto Hyperlingo. Hyperlingo has the ult available, does not use it yet. There we go. Ultimate committed by Hyperlingo. Second wind burning down. OG Roach taking a lot of damage. He has the ultimate available for himself. The Hyperlingo will go down first. X-Homie, he's just going to flash away, but it won't be enough. Oh, the ultimate coming through by OG Roach to keep himself alive. X-Homie gets away with a sliver of health.
Yeah, that Super Mega Death Rocket will just be narrowly dodged away by Tomy. I'm not sure if he used his flash that, but I do know that he used his flash in total for that fight. It was looking a little optimistic, I'll say that, for Zooted Gaming's bot lane. They really want to make something happen against OG Roach and maybe surprise him with that burst damage, but I don't think it was just enough. Didn't have that Eclipse in your pocket yet, didn't have a Muramana completed. So you're not going to have enough damage in order to really get that full burst that you want from your Feather or your Blade recall. Unfortunately, nothing is going to be coming out, or nothing good's coming out for ZG there. IDS, good job on the gank. And now, a little bit of a roam. Gem top going to be moving to gem mid, dropping that Rift Herald. Not getting the most value, honestly, though.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, he had so much pressure in top lane. I mean, Double M was even back at that time, so he could have just gotten 2 easy plates. Instead, he goes for this play mid that doesn't end up paying out, but Watercat actually flashes forward, takes 2 tower shots, and doesn't burn anything from Ashton or XVII. The package was used, I believe.
Yeah, I believe package of Valkyrie. OG Road still looking for it, though.
Barely. Barely missed with Zalp. Ashton will go down, however. Now, Watercat and Second Wind actually do have a lot. No, they don't have a lot. They'll just get 1 tower plate here in the mid lane.
So outside of the little questionable play that we saw from the mid lane, or dropping to Herald mid lane, it still turned out pretty well, considering your Watercat did burst them down. OG Roach was like, I got you, homie. Runs right into the jungle, managed to get 1 kill. The OP kill switch wasn't in the right place at the right time in order to spot out OG Roach before then. Eliminates Ashton and really puts them even further down into the hole. Not that far down, albeit. It's only 1k gold difference in favor for IDS at the moment. But it's still going to be something of note. We're still about telling me.
Yeah, 1k gold diff, and that's going to change as Watercat will go down. Great roam here by XVII, and now 4 members of Zooted in the mid lane. They will be able to punch at this turret a little bit. OG Roach is here to catch, however. And there we go, the roam from Second Wind. So now Hyperlingo has to get back to bot lane, or Zalp is going to start closing the CS gap. And the CS gap doesn't even matter because he has 2 kills ahead now of his lane counterpart. So we're looking at still a slim gold lead here for ID Solaris, but it's looking quite good for this bot lane Jinx.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Zooted Gaming. They're 3 kills down, but they're still like in arm's reach of this game at the moment here. Just excellent CSing from all parties at the moment, and doing a pretty good job at really keeping that, making sure that they aren't going to be down and out this early into the game. Really, 2 dragons under the belts too. Wow.
Yeah, we do see Drake stacking here for Zooted Gaming, and this will be an Ocean Drake, so these are 2 pretty good ones to have under your belt at the beginning, and we just want to make sure that if you are ID Solaris, you want to make sure that you're not letting the enemy team get these next 2 Drakes. These will start becoming actual contention areas, whereas the first 3 large neutral objectives have not been fought over yet.
There is one thing I want to, really just make notice of. We talked a little bit about how Zooted Gaming has a pretty cracked late game. I mean, they have 2 ADCs. That's the Corki. They have the Zaya, which I would also still consider one of the hyper carries of League of Legends. In the ADC role, there are only so many hyper carries. I consider Hyperlingo playing the Zaya would be considered one of them, with how much damage output you can do in a single fight. Or in a single team fight, really.
Oh, OP kill switch now. Going to have to ult away as Ashton is taking a lot of damage. It will be an ult committed here by the Volibear, but there's not really anything on the map right now, so it's not too huge of a loss. But as you were saying, about the hyper carries.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how they decided Hyperlingo to maybe forego some of that late game potential and go with a lethality build with the Eclipse. You're going to have a lot more burst damage, you're going to survive mid-game, which is great. But I'm still very curious about the decision. Is like, all right, let's go with the Eclipse build. We'll do a lot of damage in the mid game. We'll maybe snowball a little bit to get maybe Ashton to get ahead a little bit with that Corki, which is going to be strictly kept as a late game sort of power spike. and then Ornn items to carry us the rest of the way. I'm curious if it's worth getting rid of that potential, I suppose, is really what I'm looking for.
And I think what I'm looking for here is like you've got Corki for this mixed damage kind of long team fight kind of guy. Hyperlingo has a lot of lethality, and there's not a lot of tank stats on the side of IDS. As IDS does take down the first turret here in the mid lane, they will give that local gold over to Roach and Watercat. And there was a second Rift Herald taken?
Yeah, GemTop does not waste any time. It looks like...
I wasn't even paying attention to that.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, hey, it's a pretty...
Watch out.
Ooh, Hyperlingo's gonna have to be careful, though.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Hyperlingo will have to flash away, so that is a flash committed, but the TP from GemTop, so Double M will have some time here, and GemTop has nothing.
GemTop has a Herald if he wants to drop it. Yeah, he will be dropping it into bot lane. Dude, you're committing 5 members already to this bot lane, or if you want to consider that Watercat's leaving, but... Ooh.
Yeah, Zooted needs to get out of here. Like,
yeah,
the Herald will drop, and that's 4 members that are just walking toward.
Menacingly.
Oh, kill switch, you need to get out of there. Your ultimate is available, and he will have to use that. Will Shelly get a second charge? Does not look like it. Hyperlingo will pick that one up. So it is a tower gained here for IDS. They will put themselves about 1,000 gold securely in the lead, but Ashton will get herself a solo tower in the mid lane. So really, that's no blood.
It's a trade for tower that is first tower of blood, or first blood tower at the very least for bot lane, but that's also split between 4 people. Watercat did go top lane in order to prevent to cut some of their losses, to make sure Double M doesn't take any extra or give any extra to that top lane tower before they go ahead and swap with the bot lane at the moment. But still, that's... I don't know how I feel about that play. You're really forcing something to happen on a map, but it's really not amounting to a lot at the moment. You did make some things interesting, but I don't know.
And Ashton will have to flash as she does lose that 1v1 out with Watercat. She's still not at the point where Corki is really strong. She hasn't turned on that Muramana yet. But she's getting to the point.
It's on right now. I think it just came on at the tail end of that fight. But maybe with the next 1v1, we'll really see that, damage sort of pop off here. But, ooh, grabbing that Headstringer too as a little bit of a defensive stat. If you guys don't know, I think a couple patches ago they did make a Headstringer a less of a item inefficient, or gold inefficient item. It gives you quite a bit of a good amount of stats now. Doesn't hurt.
And my UI is busted here.
Oh.
I just realized Ashton's Muramana still says 240 mana.
Huh. Well, yes, the Manamune has been finished right now. I'm pretty sure at the very least. It looks like it. It says Muramana. There it is. I always forget if it's Muramana or Manamune, which one's first.
Oh, wait, my shop entirely has just not been updating.
Ooh,
what?
I did get that bug last week.
Oh, there we go.
As long as you just close it and open it back up, it should refresh.
There we go. Now I know what you're talking about with the Hex Drinker. I'm like, what is this dude going on about? Also, why does no one have any items?
Yes, yeah. That happened last week, and we were solidly maybe 7 minutes into the game. I was looking over, it's why is no one CSing? But yeah, it was just a bit of a spectator bug. I mean, Riot Games, small indie company. What can you do about it?
But I'm just so now that we're a little more up to date, or at least one of us is a little more up to date on this game. Yeah, I'm wondering what is going through Zooted's minds right now, because they are, they just got this tower, they're evening up the tower count, but Ashton is pretty solidly losing out these 1v1s against Watercat. So she's really just a farm bot right now, a clear bot, and now with 3 people in the top lane, they are going to take down that final outer turret for Zooted Gaming. You're kind of giving up a lot of map agency, and I'm trying to figure out what they're doing because they have so much engage. They have like 3 different engage tools, and they haven't used any of them at all.
It's definitely curious to really think about it right now. Bill M has reached that level 14 points, so the Sunfire's Cape is now Forge Fire Mantle.
And do you remember
Rest.
what the Eclipse upgrade is? I do. Do you?
It's like there's a lot of X's and Z's. And there's a Z in there. Yeah, Syzygy. I can never say it. It is constellation related, but it's definitely still a weird name for me.
It is so an eclipse is where 2 stellar bodies intersect where we can see it, and syzygy is when 3 do it. So I learned that one from Agent A2 when he made fun of me for not knowing what syzygy was on cast once.
Well, well, if it makes you feel any better, I also didn't know what it was. I still think some of the Ornn items are kind of weird. They make sense, but not in the way that you think about it. It's also, who named it a syzygy? You know.
Scientists are so bad at naming things. Like, I learned that phytoestrogen, which is a chemical found in like soy products, it's not estrogen. It just kind of looks like estrogen. It doesn't have any kind of functional effect like estrogen. Its chemical structure just kind of resembles it. So another fun fact for you.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think the guy who named what a syzygy is, he was so tired, he looked up in the sky, he was so excited, and he just kind of scribbled on his paper and then turned it in. And they were like, wait, how do you pronounce that? And he was like, well, you see, this is an S. Squints really hard. A Z. And really just, like, goes at it.
Unfortunately, I think the more likely answer was he's Greek.
That's also a possibility, but I don't like that answer, so...
That's not as fun of an answer, for
It's
sure.
not as fun of an answer. I like mine a little bit better. But, back into the game here, this is still a very close game. We're talking about gold leads. Objectives-wise, it's actually pretty even if you want to take, like, pure number-wise. It's 5 objectives taken by 5 objectives. So, pretty close match so far. And we're going to see a little bit of the IDS play. Let's just start Baron and see what happens.
But they're doing it without a ward there, so this could just easily be taken without Zooted Gaming knowing anything about it. All of their wards are on the bot side of the map, so this is just going to go down. Roach takes it down, and now Zooted is just like, okay, what happened here, guys? We just absolutely threw away a Baron because all of our wards were on the wrong side of the map.
Did have 2 wards in that Baron pit, but I don't think they noticed that they couldn't see either of them at the moment. They were like, wait, that spot on my minimap is a little darker, guys. What? Yeah, have you guys seen the IDS jungler in a bit? And, well, they did at the end with the Baron being taken up there, and Gentop just really becoming a menace, split pushing, putting on that timer for Zooted Gaming at the moment.
Yeah, so Zooted needs to take this dragon, or else they are in a horrible map state. It looks like Killswitch will be taking that on his own, which great for them because no one from IDS is going to them. So now it is going to be the top lane matchup, Gentop and MM. And I don't actually think Ornn wins that one anyway. And the steal comes through because no one was with Killswitch. This is not good here for Zooted Gaming. OP Killswitch going to run on top of Roach, who does not get to use the ultimate. The double charm coming through. Zalp has to flash away Watercat as well. Watercat taking a lot of damage. Ashton, can she go forward? Can she find that Victor? One more auto attack should do it. X-Homie flashing over the wall. He will get the kill with the Gleaming Quill. It's a 3-for-1, but giving up that dragon, giving up this inhibitor tower here, it's not good.
Yeah, now that's 2 whole Drakes that is going to be tying up the Drake score, and honestly, it's just making a really difficult spot to really come back in. Yeah, you have the better team fighting comp, but IDS is just doing a good job maneuvering around. I mean, they by no means do I say like team fighting wise is what IDS should be looking for, but they're doing a good job just maneuvering around the map and taking whatever objectives they see.
And I think the big problem there was like, you actually need to be moving as a team. You are more powerful in the 5v5, and you should know that because you drafted this very specifically as a team fighting comp. So you can't just let your jungler solo take a dragon that you're not sure if the enemy has vision over, and then you can't just send your engaged top laner up to the top lane to deal with someone and try and fight this 3v4, because it does not work out in your favor. As you see, you end up winning the fight, but you end up losing this crucial objective. So now you're tied up in dragons, and Watercat and Zalp are both continuing to scale. They're both getting to that 2-item mark.
Yeah. And
3-item mark.
yeah, they're getting to that 3-item mark. And where Zalp is just going to be starting to become a monster. I mean, once they get that... Oh, no.
Yeah, and that's a 4-man on an Ornn. That does not end well for the Ornn.
But Tommy does have the ulti available. I'm not sure if they have enough time in order to get... Or I don't even know if Hyperlingo has enough damage as the lethality build to really beat up everyone. Like, the burst potential is definitely there. You have the AoE sort of burst potential as well. You don't really lose out extra damage whenever it passes through each target. But still, once you pop that blade recall, that's going to be your entire damage, and it's going to be really, really scary to see. It's going to be a scary commitment if you want to try to tell Etomi to jump into 4 people and say, "Hey, trust me."
Yeah, I think what Zooted is doing now just looks uncomfortable. It does not look like they actually know what their comp is supposed to do, because each of them has been playing their champions fairly well. I think the problem is they just don't have a cohesion as a team. Not as a 5 players playing together, but as 5 champions on this rift. They just haven't managed to find themselves a team fight. They have not managed to find themselves a 5v5 and engage with all of their, with all of their members there. And they're just not really... They're not doing that. They're playing 2 IDS's win conditions. They're keeping their main team fighting presence, the Ornn, on the bot side. They're not rotating around this, and they're not positioning around objectives as a unit.
Just really getting danced around at the moment, which is not something you really want to see if you're a Zooted gaming fan. You really want them to try to force some of these teamfight situations. Yeah, you might cut your losses with some objectives lost, but if you get, an overall win, which they're going for right now.
Yeah, and there we go. Roach, he is going to use the ultimate, and Homie is dead immediately. They weren't able to finish him off. Hyperlingo now going to have to commit the Blade Storm. And here's Gemtop on the bottom. It's not looking good. OG Roach so low, but the inhibitor is even lower. That inhibitor will go down. Zalp takes it out, and now with the Baron and the Dragon both coming up on the map in the next minute, that's a lot of pressure that just got generated. Ooh, a good shutdown by Ashton onto OG Roach. Just managing to sneak it in there. Meanwhile, the Wet Noodle fight in the bot lane. It's been like 30 full seconds of fighting, and neither has died.
Yeah, it is the classic sort of tank fights. A good kill by Ashton in order to make sure they get OG Roach. A shot in the dark, but it was one that's probably going to be saving up a lot. I mean, OG Roach won't be there for any initial sort of fighting. Hopefully, Hyperlingo and the rest of the team can rotate over towards this bot lane. I mean, they have the prio now. The jungler's down. They can't try to force anything. Now, obviously, you don't force the dragon at the moment, but you have the numbers advantage if you all go.
Yeah, you have the numbers advantage, but you can just burn this down as long as Kill Switch can smite it. And there we go. Good smite coming through, forcing out the ultimate which from Zalp, which will not get it. So there is soul point here on the side of Zooted. But this is another timer for 5 minutes. They need to actually do something in this next 5 minutes, because the gold lead is very slowly growing, and they're just not rotating, and they're not making proactive map plays. They're just kind of rolling over and doing nothing, and they might just hand over this Baron, but they are starting to rotate. Kill Switch is not here yet. And this is going down so quickly. It's going to have to be a miracle steal. MM going to drop the Ornn Horn ultimate coming through, but here we are, the ult coming through. No, it's a safe smite. And now Roach going to jump onto Hyperlingo. Zanya's coming through for Roach. He will use his ultimate. to keep himself alive. They just need to stop the backs. They need to go for this Victor. He will go down. Hyperlingo with the kill, and now Ashton chasing down this Echo. But there we go. The jump. Roach hits the Q, kills the Corki, and it's a 1-for-1. Killswitch coming in to try and find this Echo, but he will not be able to do it. Running forward, but it's just delaying the inevitable as GemTop is here in the bot lane. He's taking a lot of damage, but he is so damn tanky. He's actually going to force the Featherstorm out from Hyperlingo. As the inhibitor goes lower and lower, the flash by Hyperlingo, and the inhibitor will drop as well. And IDS seems to have won the day as they will take down the third inhibitor here, almost uncontested.
And this is, again, just looking super, super rough for Zooted Gaming. I do still think they have a really good draft, but they're just not playing to any of their strengths. And we're a little bit on the back foot for trying to go ahead of these objectives. They didn't notice the Baron was up soon enough. OG Roach was already on top of it. They were melting it down thanks to Jinx Victor. And because of that, they were really able to make use of these objectives immediately because GemTop's already pushing. You don't have anyone that can contest them as well. I mean, Orin can be there, but you need him for engages as well. Maybe you can have OP Killswitch over there, but he's a full 4 levels down. It's a tough situation to be in if you're a Zooted Gaming fan right now. 7k gold lead. And I think this is really due to just how well they're dancing around a lot of these objectives. I don't think it's just like a draft sort of thing. Well, the York pick, interesting, and it actually worked out really well. I think this is just a player, just generally players doing a really good job at the moment.
Yeah, this is the anti-draft diff, it feels like. Because it looks like IDS just understands their champions better. They understand how to play this team comp better. And Zooted having so much clear unfamiliarity with it in Killswitch, he's going to go very low and almost down immediately. But a lot of damage here onto the members of IDS. Second win, though, he's not even going to go down as Zalp gets on a killing spree. They're going to take down Double M, and Ashton will just blow up. There's nothing to be done. IDS will go ahead and lose their ADC, but it won't really matter as they're knocking on the Nexus. IDS will take game 1 here.
What a little bit of a surprise turning events right here. We all were talking about how they kind of like draft phase. Definitely, it looked like something that ZG would win on paper, but in actual execution, it looks like. I really want to say that GemTop's York pick, alongside of just a good dancing around that IDS did, completely, really just won out that game. Yeah, just won out that game for them.
Yeah, I think after seeing this game and after seeing the clear, cohesive draft coming out from Zooted Gaming, screw that, throw it out the window. Play what they're comfortable with and play what they understand, because in this game, they didn't do anything. And they didn't play to any of those proactive win conditions that we were talking about. So I think they just need to play what they're comfortable with, what they know, and bring it back for game 2.
Absolutely. Speaking of game 2, we will be right back. We're going to go get everything ready for the next draft, and we'll see you guys then. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. hello. Hello. We're back.
Hello.
We're back.
That's us. I screwed it up.
Game 2.
Can't count. Game 2. Game 1 was interesting. I hope draft is very different.
Which reminds
game
me,
2.
let me get the prediction for everyone. Here we go. And I'll even get a second prediction.
I saw that there were a couple of people that joined us during the break. So for your benefit, we will recap game 1 a little bit. Really good draft by the side of Zooted Gaming. They had an amazing team fight comp, 5v5, good engage, good clear carries and win conditions. IDS kind of drafted a hodgepodge of good champions and comfort picks that didn't look like it was going to go anywhere. And then IDS just absolutely won, hands down across the board. Zooted didn't seem like they were comfortable with their win conditions and didn't really play around it as a result. So now hopefully they'll go ahead and change things around. I think they should just play something they're much more comfortable with, and everything already going to change around Varus and Nautilus. Very interesting.
Sorry, I'm doing something at the moment here, but let's see. Yeah, Varus, Nautilus, okay, switching it up, kinda. I mean, this is in the same vein of what a Lethality Xayah and a Rakan does. Especially since I didn't really play too much to what Rakan and Xayah strength. When I'm thinking about the match, I don't feel like they really played as much to their strengths as they could have.
I'm mostly interested by this because Varus is not a good champion. He's just not very good right now. He has not been for a while. And I think with that comes a sense of confidence that hopefully Hyperlingo knows what he's doing. Because you don't pick a bad champion if you're not familiar with that champion. So hopefully this means that they're going much more comfort pick. Instead of this, or into this Ornn rather, he's going to pick the Tryndamere. I like this. It shows that Zooted's just kind of casting off that strong draft kind of mind gaming. Meanwhile, on the side of ID Solaris, they are getting exactly what they want. They get the karma from game 1. They get Gem Top's Ornn, which we were talking about in game 1, and XGM said he's an Ornn 1 trick. So he plays Ornn and Garen. One of them's banned. He takes the other. The Victor will be taken away by Zooted Gaming as well. So they're just making sure that they're not playing against the things that beat them last game. And I like that from a team that had so much strategy going into game 1 and lost with it. I want to see them just go basically solo queue or like flex queue. You're like, oh, we got dumpstered by a Jinx last game. Oh, I got solo killed by a Victor. Get the shit out of here.
I mean, it's all completely fair, and it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what they do with their second ban here. It's gonna be the virus. They're really targeting mid lane here specifically. I am curious what really invoked them to really think is like, you know what, I'm gonna start playing Karma as a support, because I mean, there was probably some changes whenever XDM did part ways with IDS, so Second Wind started playing a little bit more, playing some different champions, and Karma is an interesting enchanter role, or enchantress role, being that it helps you in little bits of ways everywhere. It has a pretty good Pokemon damage as well, so along with Ezreal, it's definitely going to be a little bit rougher for Nautilus to be in this lane, but we'll just honestly just see how it really turns out here with the Shyvana for the jungle being picked up by Zooted.
I wonder which type of Shyvana this will be, because I have always been a fan of playing the like nuke AP build Shyvana. But obviously we have seen on the Get Wrecked stream recently a couple of times where I have had to eat my words because they've built this bruisery on hit Shyvana instead. It looks like this may be a Karma or a Seraphine mid rather, as Watercat just kind of takes Sona 2.0 to the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to Seraphine. That's going to be a lot more supportish. And I guess the big one is going to be what the jungler is for IDS. I mean, looks like it's going to be Kazit, so then maybe if this is going to be the Bruiser or Shyvana, hopefully you can tank up a little bit sooner so then Kazit doesn't just run you over like a train. Just because of how much early damage he has. Shyvana has pretty good early damage as well with EQ combos. If you're going mage, you're definitely going to die a lot. I feel like in the Kha'Zix matchup. Um, Obviously, there's room for player, where you can just outplay the Kha'Zix or you just never see them with good enough warding around in your jungle. But it is something to note. It's going to be pretty scary to see how that all is going to turn out there. With, I mean, Kha'Zix and Shyvana. That's a matchup I haven't seen. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole sentence. I haven't
I was
seen.
gonna say I don't think that's a matchup that anyone has seen since like 2014,
I think
maybe.
then because like the times in Shyvana's good and the times Kha'Zix's good never lined up on.
Well, the times that Shyvana's good and the times that Kha'Zix are good um, are rare in the first place, so it's even less likely that they will overlap. And the times that Shyvana has been good, by the way, have generally been as her bruiser self. I think we can all remember, if you were playing back then, harkening back to the days of Smite Shyvana top. That's a lot more what they were going for. A lot more bruisery, a lot more on hit, and kind of like drain tanking you down, where you would just do more damage. Um, you would just do more damage via outlasting the other team. Kha'Zix, on the other hand, he's an assassin. He kind of do assassin things. So it'll be interesting to see how this jungle matchup goes. If we're going to see that Bruiser Shyvana, are we going to see more 1v1s where that dragon is winning out rather than Kha'Zix actually getting to assassinate a squishier burst-oriented Shyvana? And you don't have anything to worry about if you're going Bruiser, because Ari has so much damage. She's in such a good spot right now, and I'm really glad to see that Ashton picked her up.
Yeah, Ari's pretty good champion, has a pretty solid build. I personally still like her Everfrost build. You don't get Glacial Augment anymore because you don't need it. I mean, you can still go with Burst. You get the Everfrost. You get 2 different ways to CC someone, and then you still deal buttloads amount of damage with your Q/W combo. I think I personally like that a little bit more, but we'll honestly just see how it really goes. Let's see. Chat, we see What Too Pretty saying that if Shyvana goes with AP, they can go for a little bit more poke versus those tanks, instead of necessarily going tank and then all inning with the Nautilus, which is definitely a version, but really feel like the Bruiser is what you really are going to be aiming for, especially with the newer builds coming out thanks to Pro Play, pioneering some of that for us. But we'll honestly just have to see how that really turns out. I mean, Shyvana, big fan of the burstier builds, but Bruiser probably is the one to go with, and just maybe abandon Boris once the team fight breaks out. You're gonna just hope he gets a couple hues before the fight starts, and then maybe throw an ulti, and then we all ditch him and go for full dive, and then we really just rely on the Ari who can self heal for herself thanks to her ulti, just having all those resets.
Yeah, I think if they use the Varus and Ari as a combination pick tool and really go for the as long as we can snipe Karma or Seraphine or Kha'Zix before the fight starts, I really like that as their kind of team fight enabling win condition. And then you've got these tankier Tryndamere, Shyvana that can act as your front line or dive the back line rather. And Ornn can't do much on his own. Ezreal is going to be the majority of the team fight damage here for ID Solaris. So it'll be very interesting to see if Zooted Gaming can pull off this sort of pick style, assuming they're playing that poke Varus, assuming they're going to use those Ari resets well. Meanwhile, ID Solaris, they've got a much more proper team fight comp, kind of like what we saw from Zooted Gaming in Game 1. You've got Ornn for some solid engage. You've got Seraphine for a really good follow-up. And then you've got consistent damage from Ezreal, and Kha'Zix able to clean up and reset those fights. It'll be really interesting to see what they can do with that, and see if they can kind of play to the win conditions that that Zooted Gaming were unable to in game one, because it is going to be very ultimate reliant for this red side team.
We'll have to see. There's a lot of ways we can go with this. I'm gonna be curious once we actually do get into game. Another mention in chat, Moonstone's Renewer on the Seraphine is an option. I honestly don't like that option just because they nerfed it so much. They did enforce a little bit less of a mid lane Seraphine and more Enchantress, so I could see it happening. But honestly, I don't know if I'll actually like it because we don't have near like a lot of damage on IDS side. Draft phase really feels like we go mid game and we win mid game or we lose. Ezreal screams a lot of mid game, Seraphine screams a lot of mid game, Kaz scream mid game. Ornn a little different, but he does have damage to sustain out and get you your 1-2 items to get those extra ornaments.
Yeah, I think they're picking Ornn for just consistent tankiness plus that ability to engage. I don't think their win condition is with any Ornn items. And I don't think that Moonstone really is the look here because of how bursty Zooted Gaming is. Like, Moonstone is great if you're trying to play these front-to-back team fights, because then your front line never dies. Your back line can't really get assassinated that easily or can't get just chipped down over time during the fight. But if you're fighting against just basically what you've got double pick carries, you've got Ahri Charm and Ahri ult plus Varus ult. You can't heal your Ezreal through that, really.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal heals plus maybe maybe the Karma shields could maybe do something, but I don't think that's going to be your main goal of the fights. I think you're really looking to just cut them off before. Actually, honestly, both teams are pretty mid game. So if it goes into late, I guess we're both kneecapping ourselves. Well, honestly, I guess it is something we're just gonna have to see whenever we do get into lobby here. I mean, Ezreal into a Nautilus just feels like he wins out, especially with the Karma, so they just poke the Nautilus before he engages. Varus can also poke back, but gonna have to be strong enough in order to really keep up with Ezreal and Karma, really just waiting for a jungler or the mid lane over so they get ultis. What do you think about mid lane matchup, I guess?
Oh, sorry, was that for me?
Yeah, you.
Sorry, I'm looking at I'm watching chat right now, and I noticed that Watercat is in chat, or was in chat a couple minutes ago, and he predicted Zooted. Is this match fixing?
Is this match fixing?
Match fixing? If Zooted wins, do we have to ban Watercat?
I don't think it's that serious, but
I don't know, man. Did you see the LPL? They just banned 20 guys for life.
I mean, get wrecked, but
Oh, get wrecked. Okay, but for the mid lane, I do think that this is going to be Watercat is going for, I just want to farm, I just want to get my items, and then I want a team fight. I think, again, this is going to be on Ashton, that you actually have to put pressure on this mid lane and force Watercat to react. I think Ahri is in a much better suited position to do this than Corki, so really it's going to be up to Ashton to control this lane and just make sure that you're not drawing Kha'Zix into the lane at the same time.
I think one more thing to note. I guess they don't have as much Baron taking potential anymore either. They don't have, so they can't try to force as many of their plays. They're gonna have to try to it's gonna be more often they're gonna back off from trying to take or force an objective more often than not. So that's gonna be something to make note of as well. But for now, we are getting into game here. Let me actually switch up the scene so you guys can see them. Here we go. We're still on the same sides. So I think this time I'll introduce the blue side here with IDS. We're going to be having the ID Solaris on the blue side, Gem Top in the top lane playing the Ornn. We got OG Roach in jungle playing Kha'Zix. In mid lane, we got Watercat, who suspiciously voted for Zooted Gaming on the prediction, playing the Seraphine in the mid lane. And in bot lane, we got rounding out our comp Zap and Second Wind playing the Ezreal and still the Karma.
Meanwhile, on the red side, we do have Zooted Gaming. It's MMTHRGRSPRE or Mr. M in the top lane on the Tryndamere. We have OP Killswitch in the jungle on Shyvana. We have Ashton in the mid lane on Ahri. And in the bot lane, Hyperlingo and XVII playing Varus and Nautilus.
What do you think Double M's top name actually says? Like, grow spree.
Thurger spree.
The grocery.
Thurger spree. It's obviously a fine French dish that we know nothing about called Thurger spree.
Yeah. I don't know that sounds French or not, but
It's
foreign. Potentially European. Maybe even further than European. But in any case, since we're already talking about him, let's talk about this top lane matchup. I mean, Gem Top is on the more comfortable Ornn this time around with maybe a little bit of a role swap. The split pusher is now going to be Double M playing the Tryndamere. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do like giving, I like for IDS, I love it for them, that they have their hands on the Ornn again. I think we're going to actually get to see a very well-piloted Ornn by Gemtop here. I'm looking forward to seeing like a lot of TP engages, like, TP ult engages, well-placed and well-timed ultimates to make sure that that IDS can actually get good team fights here. But now level 2 coming out, and that's going to be a jump onto second wind. The Ignite and the Flash and the Exhaust are all committed. So a good level 2 engage is going to burn 2 summoners for the side of IDS.
I like that. A little early aggression. You know you can't get onto Zalp with the Ezreal, so you want to just go ahead and go on Second Wind, who has a less of an easy escape route. So good to see that Etomi is prioritizing a right target on this.
And I will say, Zalp totally left out Second Wind dry, by the way. He actually flashed the hook by XVII, and then just let Second Wind get hit. So just kind of funny to me. Obviously, he didn't have level 2, so that was the correct option to let Second Wind take that. But it just made me chuckle for a second before I was like, right. Level 2 went to Zooted first.
So, interesting. Also interesting, OG Roach going to be hiding in the bush for bot lane at the moment here. You're going to see they're trying to get another push out, but maybe Zooted Gaming just has a game sense. You're like, I feel like now is level 3, or I see my jungler at level 3. He's probably level 3. He might be sitting in that bush right now. I'm not going to push up too far.
Yeah, we did see OG Roach spend so much time in bot lane in game 1. Interesting to see him continue to go into bot lane in game 2. Obviously, the Kazakhs running that first strike will want a little more action in lane, get a little more damage off. But Kazakhs likes isolation. Bot lane is kind of the antithesis of isolation. We will have to see what OG Roach ends up doing, because now he is one camp behind as OP Killswitch gets his first back. And the teleport is going to be committed by Watercat as he gets his first back off just to get that tier.
Not too much action really going on in this. I mean, it's expected, but I was still just hoping it's like maybe we'll get a little something more, Maybe Homie's just really feeling himself on an Nautilus.
How dare you? How dare you think that we're going to get an active, first 5 minutes of the game? But I mean, I do like that we are seeing actual movement in these lanes. Like obviously Gemtop and MM have been going back and forth and kind of letting that Tryndamere push in, and now he's going to take his first back and go ahead and get, what's he picking up here? Just boots and swords. Just boots and swords and walking back to lane.
Sword walking back to lane. Not really going to be grabbing too much here. I am curious to see what he's going to be looking for exactly for building first. Gemtop probably going to be grabbing the more than likely the played skill cats, because Shyvana going bruiser, you have Tryndamere top lane, and Varus, he still likes auto attacking, so I'm imagining it's going to be played steel cats at the end of things.
And I have to think that MM is just going to be going for the Gale Force. I don't think that this is a nearly tanky enough team to warrant Kraken Slayer. So, I mean, either way, he gets to pick once he gets to, you know, the point where he's finishing that last 400, 600 gold after all of the components. So, obviously, if things start switching around, you see Kha'Zix going for, God forbid, a tankier build, then you can always pivot there. But the bug has been spotted.
After they stuck 2 whole Barons last game, we're going to be a little bit more active before warding. We're really going to make sure it's like, he's not here, is he? No. That's a good game sense from Zooted Gaming. They're really making sure he's on a little bit on that. Engage.
And there we go, Root coming out. Hyperlingo starts to get some damage off onto Zalp. X-Homie, he does not get the auto attack off, but that's the W. That's the W active. Didn't respect it, and Ezreal's going to get smacked by it. Now the heal going to come out. OG Roach going to go down as well, and no respect whatsoever coming out here from IDS. It's going to be 2 kills over to the bot lane of Zooted Gaming.
I will also want to point out you are a little bit behind me. I'm 7-14 right now. 15, 17.
How is it that my stream, like, I can get up to current and then somehow it'll just start slowly lagging?
No, that happened to me before I upgraded my internet. You know, as the kids say, L plus ratio plus get better internet.
Oh, okay, so you're calling me poor.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I'll double down on it. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But in any case, that was a pretty good fight in the bot lane. Unfortunately, you know, X-Homie got the kill, but hey, we don't honestly care that much. We got 2 kills bot lane. Hyperlingo has a full Serpent's Fang, so he's gonna have a really good job, or a really good time, going against Second Wind, because you drop that shield over onto Zalp, he suddenly takes extra damage that can bleed over, and on top of that, any shields that you put on Zalp after he gets poked anyways, he's just gonna get hurt. It's just gonna not be as effective.
And that's also going to go for Seraphine as well, so it's not like it's just a one-note item.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's cheap, it's got a good bundle of stats. Altogether, pretty good first item here for aggression in lane. He will want to pick up that Muramana pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially as Varus, you don't spam your abilities quite as quickly as often as a Xayah or a Corki does. So you definitely want to try to turn that into the Manamune, so then your auto attack starts stacking it too, so then you can get that Muramana way faster.
So already a 2k gold lead here built up for Zooted Gaming. And that's pretty much, you know, that's the bot lane right there. The gold lead, or the CS lead rather, in the jungle is, you know, just a couple of camps. It's not a ton. But really what we're looking at, this 2-kill lead in the bot lane, plus, well, there's not much else. I think they took a tower plate down there.
And then what's pretty informing me, Serpents doesn't do the extra damage anymore. Okay, so thank you for letting me know about that one. The shield reduction, nevertheless, is still going to be pretty good. OG Roach doing so much damage. Oh my god.
Yeah, but that's going to be that ultimate coming over from Shyvana. He is going to be knocked up, however, and Ashton goes down as well. Damn, that is a lot of good collapse here for the side of IDS. They will find 2 back, and it looks like, oh, here we go. Ultimate into ultimate into Zalp, going low, not going to quite go down. X-Homie will take his 2nd kill of the game, so the bot lane of Zooted will find themselves 1 back, even as the Rift Herald drops.
So let's start breaking it down and piece by piece. First, in the top lane, OG Roach jumping in onto kill switch. He knows he doesn't have flash, so he was like, okay, easy peasy, I can go in and try to do a lot of damage. Got hurt a lot of it because Ashton was also there, but Watercat hit a great ulti, lands or gets extended thanks to OG Roach being in the area. Managed to hit OP kill switch. I don't think it hits Ashton. Not exactly sure about that. Did get hit by the Ornn ulti though. in order to, and then get clapped by Gem Top at the end to do that extra bonus damage as well. So it uh made up in honestly strides, picked up 2 kills in that endeavor. Don't think they lost anyone in that either. So overall pretty good. And then for the bot lane, we're gonna look at it for Zalp and second win. Zalp, he a little distracted. He was watching top lane. And you know, to be fair, was very interesting top lane. But you got to be careful. Nautilus was in the area. He threw out the hook. He got hit by it, and one hook is honestly all you need in order to start the chain CC. Just pain train. He got hit by the hook. Got hit by the death charge. Got hit with the or didn't get hit by Hyperlingo's ult, but did get hit by the snare from XVII's auto attack, but uses Cleanse Gal. That's Hyperlingo throws up the ulti, hits second wind dies.
Yeah, that's a lot that goes on in that bot lane. You cannot get hit by even one hook by Nautilus because you've got 3 different abilities that can just continue to lock you down, plus all of the Nautilus CC. So if you get hit by any CC ability from the bot lane of Zooted, you die. And there we go, second win now going to take a lot of damage, but 4 members here in the bot lane. XVII has the flash, he will get over the wall, but OG Roach will shut him down. 517 gold over to the Kazakhs.
Yeah, and maybe that's what we need in order to try to jumpstart, especially because we got the Rift Herald, so we're also going to probably getting maybe the Rift Herald's a little soon, but maybe you also don't know where OP kill switch is. I would have preferred it if you waited a little bit, but I honestly, that's probably the best timing you could get. You got 4 plates out of it. I don't know. If you held it a little bit longer, you could probably go for the whole tower in this instance.
Yeah, it's just too tanky right now to get, so I don't... Oh, maybe they will. Yeah, 1 more auto will do it, so that is a full tower here gotten, and the gold lead actually swings in favor of IDS.
Is quite easy. Let's see. Randy King saying, was no one telling Not that there were 4 people running at him? Yeah, he had his AirPods in, he couldn't hear. It was very unfortunate. But yeah, it looks like XVII did call down there to OG Roach. Super unfortunate, and they really capitalized on that mistake, taking down that whole tower. It looks like they might lose this tower in return. No, they're going to be a little bit careful about it. So Zooted Gaming's not exactly going to be able to take this tower immediately, especially with the bot lane moving into mid.
Yeah, Ezreal and Karma just showed they really needed to just immediately move down there and take it because the dragon is up now. So like your Shyvana isn't even there, so you aren't getting anything for yourselves here. You could at least even up the turret count if you went for that turret, and actually you would get a little bit ahead in gold. So a little bit of a misplay there, and now there we go. That's a little bit of a misplay from the Karma.
A little bit of a misplay indeed. You were hoping, you know, if things turned out a little bit better in or trying to get some wards down before you go ahead and take that dragon. Unfortunately, you had the whole squad pulling up in that bush and down there. So that is going to be pretty sad to see for that. You are going to be losing out that Drake. It is going to be evening up the gold score. But, I mean, in any case, it's going to be keeping the game interesting. OG Roach flashing for it. Oh my god.
Yeah, that is a huge misplay from XVII. You cannot walk up without members without knowing what's happening with the other team. Is this OG Roach gets the freest kill of the series.
You give a little bit of a notion to stay consistent about all of this. I really want to say, you know, I say this to every support. A warding buddy is always great. Sometimes you can't do it. I can understand that, but you also gotta be worried about timings a little bit. You know, you don't know where the other jungler is, so you're trying to get a little vision for your team. But because of that, you are putting yourself at danger, especially in that mid lane when there's already 2 people there, or at least 1 person there. You know for sure for second win being there, or was it Watercat? One of the 2. Just being in the area, you know that if there is a collapse happening on you, it's going to be a hard one.
And I think the most egregious part of that to me is that, oh, Nautilus may be caught again as Watercat is going to get hit with the ultimate. Hyperlingo going to heal, but I don't think it's going to be enough as XVII goes down for his third death here. 4 members in the mid lane. It's just real goon squadding up here. But yeah, as I was, the most egregious part of that ex-homie death was that there's no reward there. You're just kind of like, at best, you're putting a proactive ward to see something. It's not like you're sussing out a Baron or another objective. It's not like you're setting something up for your team to rotate. You got everything you wanted to there, so you need to make sure that you're sticking with the buddy and actually going to, you're going to the most impactful places if you're going to risk yourself like that.
And sorry, yeah, I'm still responding to this Discord DM. Some admin issues, but
Wow, look at you, fancy man, getting Discord DMs.
wow. Anyways, in this match here, seeing pretty good CSing from all sides. Zalp's honestly doing a lot better than he was doing in the previous game, I'm feeling. That or Hyperlingo's doing worse. One of the two. But let's go with the let's put a positive spin on it and saying Zalp's doing a pretty good job. Look at him go. He got an Essence Reaver. He's almost at his full tier into the Muramana. Wow, that Varus Q still hurts though.
Yeah, Varus Q will continue doing a lot of damage. I don't think there's going to be a point of the game where it doesn't. So he does, however, need to actually like get more flat AD. He actually needs to finish that Manamune so that he can continue to scale, because Roach is going to be harder and harder to hit, so you need to make all of those Q's and E's count.
And it would be honestly, I'm still surprised that Hyperlingo actually doesn't have enough for the Muramana just yet. Just because it's such a high prio. I know he focused on that Serpent's Fang first, but ooh, hey, pretty good damage coming out. Unfortunately, a little timing from the Everfrost there in order to try to make sure that your burst is a little bit longer, but unfortunately, mistimed it. Gotta get those down. If you get a good burst combo down and forces Watercat to try to use a lot more mana on the W, that pushes down their sustainability in order to stay with that bot lane, and then you can just try to take this bot lane tower in order to try to push your lead. A lot of things that come out of it.
Sure. Yeah, you just need to make sure, if you're Ashton, that you continue to push this 1v1 against Watercat, because Watercat does have a slight CS lead, but he's not going to be nearly as effective in the 1v1 as Ashton will, so you need to abuse that as much as possible, because this is a Seraphine who will be very effective in team fights, and this is Watercat's style. You don't want to let people get comfortable with this, so good on Ashton to continue taking this tower, continue pushing out this Seraphine. And now with eyes on Kha'Zix, see, now you can actually step up and ward like that, because you've got people, a stone's throw away from you, and you've got eyes on the jungler. The jungler, like a bug, might be squashed, going to jump. There is going to be the Q coming through, damage out, and now XHomie, a little bit left to dry. Hyperlingo doesn't have the ultimate, but there we go. The Ignite will get it. Good on ZG. They will have this third Drake, easy peasy for breezy, or they'll just go for Baron instead.
Definitely can go for Baron. They have a little bit of the extra damage DPS thanks to, or not Baron, the Herald. 30 seconds
this
left.
Is only 19:30.
Yeah, we're only 19 minutes in, but yeah, we can go for the Herald. Still pretty significant because it allows you to open up extra pressure around the map. And if we're talking incineration for what's like pretty important, it's Cloud Drake, or do we get a Herald where we can get a tower down? And we care. I feel like we care a little bit more about towers, especially when you're looking at mid lane, who's already about 80-70% down already. This helps even out the score a little bit, where again, one misstep could potentially end to a pretty good net gain for Zooted Gaming. We'll just have to see if they can really push that sort of lead with them. That IDS has kind of been doing that sort of game of punish or play and punish, where you misplay, you get, you're gonna really feel bad about hitting that misplay.
Yeah, for sure. However, if you look at the entire map state, we've been highlighting these kind of give and take that both teams have been doing, but across the entire map, it's pretty much dead even in gold. You've got this like waiting gold here in the form of the Rift Herald sitting in MM's pocket, but he can basically get a top tower out of that if he's lucky. If he can really push it for like a second charge, that's much better. But you're looking at like 500, 500 team gold at max. But now 4 members here are going to go ahead and take down this mid tower, the second of IDS's game, and there is no response yet from Zooted Gaming. They're just not in the right position for this.
They are able to put the Rift to a top lane, but I don't...
It's not even going to get the tower.
Yeah, it's just going to half help the tower for us to take later. A little questionable. I mean, you had so much time on it. You could use it for extra, time backing and stuff like that, or just waiting to really punish on Gentop's TP. But instead, you just drop it now, and now we're seeing Gentop just casually strolling. He's like, I can't be here anymore. What are you gonna do? Attack my tower a couple times?
I mean, heck, rotate mid with that. Let your team push that in and play the 4v4 and continue to play the poke game. But like, you get a couple of chips off of it. I don't know. I'm not seeing the benefit of that Herald take. It was a good play to make sure that the Herald went into the hands of Zooted, but it just hasn't shown it. It will never show anything because been used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. It did put a little bit of pressure because you can take that whole tower now. With like if Gentop leaves, you as a Trendemir, you can take that tower. But you do miss out on the potential of like, oh, I can get a lot of pressure with a Herald by forcing him staying there. I can still get faster backs, and worst case scenario, or like best case scenario, I pull a lot of pressure. I get 2 tower charges off.
For sure. I think we're kind of harping on this because there's nothing else to harp on right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really any other conversation topic as this third tower goes down, and now again, similar to what we saw in game 1, all 3 outer turrets are going to be down. It's going to free up IDS to do more stuff, and now like Roach, he's here. He gets hit by Hyperlingo's ultimate, and now the teleport coming out from Watercat, actually both members. So they need to get something done here in this mid lane, or else they've just wasted 2 teleports for an ultimate.
And we're gonna pull a classic IDS. So let's just take Baron. Take Baron.
And yeah, and no vision on the side of Zooted Gaming. They just try and go for Ornn. Ornn is just wasting time here. We'll have to see if he drops the ultimate and starts this team fight. But here he is on the side, Homie, going to use the ultimate to try and get the Ezreal off, and that's a lot of damage off onto Hyperlingo. He is going to be knocked out of the fight. The ultimate coming out onto 2. Ashton has 1 charge of the ult left. She's going to use it to get away. Now the shutdown coming out onto Watercat. MM is not dead yet. He's chasing down Zaup. 1 more hit should be able to do it. Zaup gets the kill, however, does not die. It is going to be a 2-for-1 across the board. The Baron is stopped. Roach is low, and it looks like IDS does barely win this one.
You barely win it, which is, I mean, if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about when I talk about like the forcing Baron play, you force them into a position that's not exactly comfortable, and you either take a whole objective that's super good, or you put them in a position where we have to fight and just stat check them. In this case, this was going to be the stat check with IDS managing to win out the team fight barely, but winning out nevertheless. With gold lead is about Gentop taking quite a bit of damage. Gold lead is about 100 or 1,300, alongside of the extra 2k we get from Ornn items, the Rhymeford's Grass, and also I don't know what the Dustblade turns into.
Rakthar's Shadow Carver.
I never seen that enough. But then Landry's Torment. It was Anguish. Does it turn into Torment?
Lament,
right. Torment was what it was previously.
Torment is the OG, yeah.
The OG version. So yeah, Lament. So that's 3k in items that doesn't show up on the scoreboard alongside of the 1k they already have.
However, Watercat might be in a little bit of trouble. The ultimate doesn't work against a Trendemir, so well, Watercat does get solo killed, so that is a little bit of a bright spot here, and 30 more seconds on the map for ZG, and now a lot more damage coming out. The ultimate going to be used, but now the Ornhorn committed back. GemTop taking a lot of damage. Roach going to jump in. He gets a lot of damage off onto Hyperlingo. Will they be able to finish the kill? They will. GemTop takes the kill onto that homie. Going low. GemTop cannot flash the wall, however, and now Ashton doing a lot of damage, and all GemTop has is armor.
And now suddenly Gold Lead has, actual Gold Lead swung over to ZGI side of things. GemTop still looking for something actually onto Ashton.
Yeah, Ashton's actually real. That is not the right move there, Ashton. Yep, that's a shutdown, a solo kill by the Ornn.
I'm hoping that Zhonya's Hourglass is coming in very soon. Otherwise, that stopwatch is going to be a wasted opportunity. Very unfortunate to see. Especially because now you're also locked out for your items. You could sell the stopwatch, but you just have to buy it again you did end up having to sell out that potion, so that means so you can free up a slot to build more components. But
yeah, just kind of like, I mean, like, obviously that's just a panic hit, but now that's going to give Baron pressure over. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a pretty clean Baron here for IDS. They're in a 5v4. However, they don't have the Ornhorn available, so they may need to stall a little bit. X-Homie does have his ultimate coming up in a few seconds, and now the fight gets engaged. OP kill switch in the back of the fight. OG Roach going very low, and now the ultimate coming out for Zalt, but MM is in the back line. He's jumping on top of them. Kill switch going to go very low, but GemTop, can he finish off the kill? I don't believe he can. It's a 2-0 already. MM has to run away. He dies without using his ultimate. So that's a shutdown for Zalp. No Baron taken yet. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Zooted, and they win the 4v5.
And with the updated stat check, it turns out Zooted Gaming just has a little bit better stats. He's looking for something though.
Okay, it's a 1-for-1, a shutdown by Watercat. And that's a lot of damage by the Nautilus. And now here goes Zalp going low, going down. Ashton with her 3rd kill of the game, and Watercat's the only one alive.
That was a pretty good stat check, and I didn't even notice. It looks like Trinity has his ulti, and he didn't use it.
Yep.
When he died.
He just got blown up.
He didn't
and
expect
didn't think to press R.
I guess he didn't expect it, but yeah, that was a good fall. Okay, Etomi looked like it was an int, but he did buy time for his teammates to get there in order to finish up that kill. Ashton saw that opportunity, used the ulti, jumped in. OP kill switch already had his ulti again. Oh my god.
Yeah, GemTop also. Oh, that's a kill on the Hyperlingo. That's going to be a 2nd kill, and now the Ornhorn going to knock up onto OP kill switch. That's going to be a 3rd one, and the Baron is free here for IDS. They just took 3 kills uncontested. Zalp coming back, and OG Roach has some sustain against this Baron, although it may be a very slow take.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a slow run. I mean, we have Landry's Lament in order to help the burn a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna matter too much. No one's really going to be contesting this, and that is going to be the 3rd Baron take, I believe, for this series, and in favor for IDS.
3rd uncontested Baron take here for IDS in this series, so they are doing very well for themselves in these neutral objectives.
Can you really say it was uncontested? They started that like a minute and a half ago.
That's true. That's true. It's not uncontested. They have just won the contest and then taken a Baron.
Yeah, it was a minute and a half long contest where we were allowed to respawn and try to contest again.
But I think the important one here is the dragon coming up in about 30 seconds. This could be Soul for Zooted Gaming, but now with the Baron in Roach. Okay. He's got an Edge of Night. Don't worry.
Okay. Cool. I do like the Edge of Night pick because you have Ashton with 2 forms of CC, and it's a little bit harder and whatever you're blocking is most likely what you want to block. Ed's homie with the hooks, Hyperlingo with the Qs. There are some things that's gonna break it naturally, like if you're trying to run it in and Ed's homie just hits the E button, or if Trinimer's spinning. In any case, it's goodbye. Good trade, honestly, though. Good trade from Objectives.
Yeah, good trade. You are denying... I mean, it is Cloud Soul, so it's not very useful, but you are denying Elder Drake. You're giving yourself time to continue playing. And I'm not sure how the top side of of Zooted Gaming, this Tryndamere and this Shyvana, how do they scale up against this team? Because you've got a Varus who will fall off as a lethality ADC, and Ari continues to be strong, but she's not going to have that much behind her in terms of manpower.
Yeah, if you want to talk about a little bit how this mid game's going, we did commit going to Shadow Flame, which is personally favorite item. It's great against shields, and it's great early game because it scales off current HP. Oh my goodness, Ashton, but you're gonna get blown up.
Yeah, that's a Kha'Zix with 3 items, and the ultimate from Ezreal is not going to connect.
Good dodge. Moves a little bit downwards.
Good dodge.
You'll switch like something though.
I'm sorry, Kill Switch. I don't think you win this fight. Okay, maybe in the 2v1 you do, but your team has just lost their next inner turret, and now OG Roach chasing you down. So they're not going to get anything, but that's 2 more towers picked up here with the Baron buff.
And this is going to be a pretty different game than game 1, honestly. It feels a little bit the same sort of patterns where IDS is doing doing their typical dance of like, all right, about 20 minutes in the game, let's do a little bit of a stat check, jump right over to the Baron, and see who's going to win. They not necessarily won every single one, but they won most of these stat checks they forced over in the Baron pits. I mean, honestly, they're doing a pretty good job. I also feel like we're also zoom in a little bit. I don't know. Seeing the Ezreal, how small he is, I'm just gonna zoom in. But yeah, I mean, they've won a lot of these stat checks, and it's working out in their favor. They are able to keep up with gold because of it, because they went out in these team fights. They lost one, but then it lasts long enough where they could just win it again. And it worked out pretty well into their favor so far, but now we're gonna be seeing how does this translate into late game, because you do have a Kha'Zix who falls off, but they have a Varus that also falls off unless he decides to sell his items and go, let's go on hit. But I don't even know how that was really going to fare against Gem Top playing that Ornn. So many things to stop AD or stop attack speed.
Yeah, I think the lethality Varus is better in this case, just because like you actually have a chance of killing the other 4 members of the team, and at that point you can finally just dogpile Ornn and kill him. But yeah, I don't think on hit Varus just has the damage or the anything really to deal with that. Now OG Roach going in, he is just gonna walk out of it. Now the ultimate coming through, and that's Hyperlingo down already. The Ornhorn coming out, gonna knock up OG Kill Switch. Now it's just kind of an Ornn standing in the middle of 3 of them as Ashton takes a lot of damage. Gemtop gets the kill, and OG Roach is just dancing for his life. He manages to live it, baits out everything, and ends up with 2 kills on the side of IDS. They may be able to crack the base here.
Like, they are going to be looking to really enforce this punish, honestly. They got 2 of their hyper carries. They're looking to try to maybe even look for an end here, and Gentop's just running at this tower.
Yeah, Ornn just cannot be killed here. He's got so much health, so much resistances, so much healing, and now the ultimate going to be committed by the Tryndameres. 1, 2 fall, and Hyperlingo gets up to go right back down. It is a clean 2-0 here for IDS.
Oh, that is quite the series that we've been waiting for. Our final quarterfinals, and it ends up being a 2-1 in favor for IDS. Now, albeit, I don't think 2-0 is going to be really justifying how close this series was, honestly. I think both games was pretty close, honestly. IDS had to just keep doing those stat checks in order to try to make themselves ahead, because they have a little bit more of that team fighting prowess, while Zooted Gaming were doing really good in laning phase. Honestly, like, Hyperlingo game 1 was able to just stay ahead in CS for so long, even had quite a bit of damage under the belts, but they just couldn't meet the sort of macro plays that IDS had.
Yeah, and I think while on the scoreboard and by the numbers, this was a very close series. I think if you watch these two games, the eye test goes so far in favor of IDS. Zooted, I think, had the better. That they had pretty good laning mechanics. They had a really good draft in game one. They had a really good draft in game two. Heck, but I think the problem ended up being was that IDS moved very well as a unit. They knew how to force fights. They knew when their power windows were, and they knew how to play around them. And that's not something that really is reflected by just looking at the gold graph or looking at the scoreboard. So IDS definitely looks very strong as a team, and Zooted Gaming, they look really good as well. They just need to figure out how to play better to their win conditions when hopefully they come back next split.
And just to do a little bit of explaining how, I think I have it pinned. No, not in this. I think after this. There it is. Since IDS wins, it's gonna be Mingos versus Reign of Kings here, and then IDS versus Lamp. At least that's what I had written down. I can triple check that after the stream just to really make sure that, because I did the math on this, but it was like a week ago. Pretty sure it's. Any case, we'll be back next week. We're gonna have 2 streams. This one on Get Wrecked. I'm not sure where the second one is. If it's gonna be on GR2, or we're gonna have a couple buddies of ours stream that series and do a little bit of a little homely sort of casting for that. But in any case, that is going to be our games for tonight. I've been Red Skull Dragon. He's been Vid, and we've been your casters for tonight. You have anything to say before we go ahead and end off?
Looking forward to a banger of a semis next week. Congratulations to all the teams that have made it this far, and looking forward to seeing the rest next week.
But good night.